Hey, Vic, can you just tell us who's not going to practice today, particularly Bradley Chubb and KJ Hamler status?
Yeah, Bradley will not practice today. He's still working through the ankle issue. KJ will not practice today. Shelby will not practice also today. He's got to came out of the game with a knee injury. And Trey Marshall has a quad injury that right now he's listed as not practicing, but he may be able to do a little bit once we get out there.
Is Shelby's injury considered serious or not?
They're still evaluating it. Don't know the severity of it yet.
All right. Then secondly, I was going to ask you if it makes sense to sort of feature Jerry Jeudy this weekend so that he doesn't go into the off season with that bad taste in his mouth from last week. And if that's the case, how do you balance that, knowing that your opponent will be kind of keying on him?
We'll just run our offense, just like we have been, last week. And if the routes against certain coverages, against certain looks dictate the ball to go to Jerry, the ball will go to Jerry. If it goes to him as much as it went last week, it will go there as much. If not, then it won't. But, anything and everything we're doing is trying to win the game. And, if that means Jerry catches a bunch of balls or gets targeted a lot, great. If not, that's okay too, just as long as we win the game.
Next one. Hey, Vic, the lack of takeaways has been asked about a lot this year, but as a coach, how do you get it into the corners' minds that they need to challenge those routes instead of playing scared or playing off so they can create some of those takeaway opportunities?
Yeah, that's, obviously it's been a problem for us. We haven't gotten enough and we've turned it over too much. And, the corners just have to accept the responsibility, of the difficulty of the job playing corner in the NFL and not be afraid to, play tight, play aggressive, play smart, and not worried so much about giving up the big one all the time.
Next one, Troy.
Following up on Ryan's question, Coach, that minus 20 turnover margin, it's double any team in the league. How do you assess that number, and how do you look at it as you enter the offseason to address it?
Well, it's twofold. One, we have turned it over too much, and two, we haven't gotten it enough. Sometimes when you get out of whack that way, it's one side or the other being the major culprit, but it's been a team problem this year on both sides of the ball, and obviously we have to rectify it. And one is we've got to protect it better on offense, that's for sure. And then we got to find a way to get the ball out, get some interceptions, disrupt, be a little more disruptive on defense to allow us to get them.
Next one, Jeff.
Vic, you finished last season against the Raiders and will finish this season against the Raiders. How do you gauge your progress this year and kind of where did you find progress and where did you not?
We could be here all day answering that question.
I got time.
Yeah. It's a difficult question. We had an inordinate amount of injuries, which I think hurt our progress some. We alluding to the last question, we've turned it over too much, which hurt our progress. We didn't get takeaways, which hurt our progress. So I think individually there's been a lot of progress. We've gotten a lot of young players, a lot of playing time that they're going to grow from and learn from. And I think that's where the progress has mainly been made.
Next one, Mike Kliss.
Yeah, Coach, was there crowd noise in LA this past week?
I didn't notice it a little bit.
What my question is, have you been surprised with no fans, the quality of play and in all the sports, basketball, the World Series and baseball, the competition has just been intense from beginning to end. Did you think it would be that way without having the crowd, pump everybody up?
No, I think that was to be expected. I mean, we all started playing sports growing up in the backyard and in the playgrounds with nobody watching. And, those are competitive games, as you'll see. And I think once, you cross the white lines and there's 11 other on the other side of the ball playing it from an NFL team against your team, it's going to be intense, just like you alluded to in basketball and baseball.
Excellent, Brandon.
Coach, how different, if at all, do the Raiders look from when you saw them a few weeks ago? I guess that's straightforward.
Not a lot different. They're having a great season offensively. They've got some great players. You got Waller at tight end, who's having a phenomenal season. Josh Jacobs, who's having a great season. The quarterback's always been good. He's a great passer. Hunter Renfrow has really emerged for these guys and playing good. Nelson Aguilar has played great for them. They've got a good O-line. They've really had a great season offensively. And their special teams is a really good team too. And I think their defense has improved in the last couple of weeks, and they're playing much better.
Next one, Nick Coz.
Yeah, Vic, I'm just curious what your thoughts are on Malik Reed, and obviously got put into a similar situation this year than he did a year ago, taking over and filling a bigger role than perhaps he thought he would going into the season. What's just been your impression of his growth this season and where he can go from here to kind of really solidify himself as a pass rusher in this league?
Yeah, he's just got to keep growing. You're right. He's gotten other people's misfortune has been his opportunity the last 2 seasons. And he's taken good advantage of it, and he's had a good season for us. There's still a lot of things that he could do better and improve on. And hopefully this season will lay the foundation for that. And hopefully we'll have an off season where we can get to work and get him better in all the areas of his play for an outside linebacker and outside rusher.
Next, we'll go to Eric Dolala before opening it up to the entire group.
Yeah, Coach, a couple for you. First, Noah Fant, how close do you think he is to being able to have an impact like a Darren Waller, a Travis Kelce, a George Kittle type guy?
Well, I think he's close. We like Noah. Noah's a very talented player. I think he's improved this year from last year in many areas. He's caught the ball well. He runs good with it after the catch. He's a competitive blocker. I think he's got a chance to be, in the top 10 of tight ends around the league.
And then Melvin has run the ball well the last few weeks. What would it mean for him to get to 1,000 yards here in the final week?
Well, I think it'd be great if he got to 1,000 yards, and that was part of a victory for us. We like Melvin. He's a good running back. He was a good running back before we got him. He's still a good running back. He runs hard. He's a very good back in this league. He was before, and he still is.
Next, we'll go to Sam Gordon from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Hey, Vic. Sam Gordon here, Las Vegas Review-Journal. When you look back at the year that Drew's had, just in what ways has he improved the most, and what does he need to do in order to kind of take the next step to continue his improvement in the NFL here?
Well, I think he's continued to, show his talent. He's capable of making very good throws. He's done that throughout the season. Obviously we have to cut down on the interceptions. We've thrown too many of them as a team, and those are always not totally on the quarterback, but it is on the team, and it does follow his stat line, and that's an area that we really need to improve on.
Next, we've got Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group.
Yeah, Vic, how much of playing defense against the Raiders is coming up and seeing exactly where Waller is at a given time and dealing with that? And I guess that would go for someone like Kelce too. And a second quick question, are you surprised to be here in week 17 in terms of the league-wide? Did you think there were times you weren't going to get through, or were you pretty optimistic it was going to happen?
Well, back in late June and into early July, I wasn't sure if we would have a season. But then once we got through training camp, I was very optimistic that we would be able to do it. Obviously, there's been some potholes along the road to getting to this point. Some teams have experienced more than others. But I would say to answer your question is once we completed training camp, I was very optimistic. And, back to Waller, he's just a tremendous player. He's a rare guy in that he could be a full-time wide receiver if they wanted him to. And, he could play, obviously plays tight end well. He's a capable blocker, and he creates a lot of problems. He's extremely fast for a guy his size, and he's very athletic for a guy his size with his size speed combination. You know, and he's one of the top 2-3 tight ends in the league for sure.
It's time for a few more. Next one.
Yeah, Vic, you talked Sunday about how the corners were playing too far off. How did you feel Michael played? And secondly, have you seen him grown enough to think that he can be a consistent starting corner in the NFL going forward?
Yeah, I think Michael's grown as the season's gone on. You know, he's had the tough season there in that, you know, he missed a good bit of training camp and then got thrown into the fire there and, you know, had his ups and downs like a lot of rookie cornerbacks do. But I see improvement. I see a good mindset, and I see a good player moving forward.
Next one, Zach.
Hey, Coach, thanks for talking with us. Philip Lindsay, I know he's done for the season, but how would you evaluate the season he had this year, and how much did injuries impact him down the stretch?
I think injuries impacted Philip the whole way. You know, he got hurt early. I believe it was the first game, missed a few weeks, came back, looked pretty good there, and then started getting, you know, a couple different nicks here and there. And I think it really affected him. He wasn't quite the same. He would tell you that himself. And we just need to get Philip healthy and get him back to rolling the way we know he can play within our offense.
Final one, Connor.
Hey, Vic, to follow up on Melvin Gordon, obviously he's been running the ball well over the last 3-4 weeks, but how are you hoping he uses this last half of this season to kind of springboard into next season, and obviously knowing he's probably facing that suspension at the beginning of next year as well?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to get a good jump into the next season, and he's played well enough. He should feel good about it. But for any player, the new season starts a new season, and he's going to have to work really hard in the off season to get his body right and get in the optimal shape that he can get in to be a running back in the league, you know, and the grind that it is for those guys. And so to me, it's, you know, it's a new season moving forward that starts for a guy for like Melvin, especially as you get to his age. He's not old, but he's got to do a great job of taking care of his body.